Another chapter in my life. Life is a big challenge. I was married. I had 2 children. That I dedicate my life to. Everyone knows the responsibility and the hardship of taking care of children. And a wife. While going to college, I tried to send myself to college. And I must give God thanks to the visa company, because if I didn't have a visa credit card, I couldn't make it. So I used their money and I paid them back. Even today, I'm struggling to pay them back. But I'm happy for my small accomplishment. So I will focus on my son. He was with me during marriage. The father-in-law, he was a very cruel man to me. After all I did for his daughter, walk with her hands in hand, teach her to drive, he did not happy that we were married. He said to her, do whatever is necessary to get rid of him, because you cause disgrace in the family. Whatever plans he had for her at the time, I didn't know anything about it. But she come to me and she asked me to marry her. I gladly accept. That's my first relationship, of course. Anyway, the first child she had was a boy. I look after that boy. Feed him with a nipple bottle. Change his pampers. Me. Take him to daycare. He got bad treatment. I got very upset. I took him out of that daycare. Boy was very handsome. Anyway, he went back to his mom after divorce, because her father gave her instruction what to do. She followed the foolish footstep of her father. And then her son, they use him as a weapon against me. So, unfortunately, he passed away. He should be alive today if he was with me. But you see, sometimes people set in trap for you. They don't set none for themselves. And then the children get caught in crossfire. The 2 children, my son and my daughter, were living with me for a long time. My daughter lived with me until I walked with her hands in mine. We went to McMaster University. Mark you, I did not finish elementary school. But because of how I see my father usually try to guide us and try to educate us, unfortunately, something in the element didn't want my father to help us. And so he got knocked off his feet. My mother was not strong enough to stick around, even though she could. When I grew up and see what we did have, we were rich and didn't even know. Anyway, but she did all she can for us. Yeah. So, back to my daughter. I pray to God every day. I live for the giver of life, and I also live for my daughter. Something that she don't appreciate. When I took her to university, she said to me, long before she started university, she wanna be a pediatrician. And I make sure I'm with her. Not in her studies, but I took her to the library. I took her to French immersion. I took her to Spanish class. I worked long and hard. I purchased a house to use as collateral for her education. I remember a family friend. His name is Lawrence Thompson. Both of us, we went to Hamilton and we find a place that she could stay close to campus so she don't have to be late for her schooling, her education. I bring grocery, full the fridge, gave her a debit card. I want everything good for her. When I go to work when she was much younger, I usually have to take her with me to work in the hospital where I work. And I give God thanks for some ladies who usually, they are supervisors, work in the kitchen. And they help me take care of my daughter. Sometime lunchtime, when I go for her to take her to lunch, she's absent from the kitchen. Those supervisors, they would have her downtown someplace. They go shopping, they took her. They go on the floor to deliver food to patient, they took her. You know, what more can a man ask for? I consider myself a lone soldier. So I have those two children with me. Life is very hard. And I'm getting jobs in the hospital. 12-hour shift. 16-hour shift. I live on the road. With my Chevy Astro van. Just me and my van. And my two children. My son, every street that I enter, I said to him, tell me the name of this street. Some of the street he couldn't call the name. I said, just tell me the first letter or spell it out for me. I'll tell you. Because I'm driving. Can't take my eyes off the road for too long. So the boy grew up to be brilliant. I learned to fix computer. I bought a computer for like $500, a 9-year-old computer. I take the computer apart. I figure out how to fix it. Of course, with the help of a family member, when I get stuck, I call. His name is Brooke. He knows my whole life story. So if someone if I'm not able to tell people my story, go and find Brooke Gordon. He will tell you. But my daughter became a very big disappointment. She didn't directly disappoint herself, but she mingled with people who disappointed her, distracted her from the path. And I always tell her, only listen to my voice. I said to her, the world is full of evil. People will steer you from the path that you take in life. Do not listen to them. The long and the short is, she listened to them. I remember when I go back to that house that I rent for her, she wasn't the only student there. There was a lot of other students. She was not there. The home owner told me that she moved away. And she moved away and didn't tell me. I find out where she moved, and she moved into a house occupied by brothers from the congregation. When I went and talked to her, why do you leave the college? Why do you leave the college? She don't want to continue with her path that she told me she was going to take in the first place. They show me must be a 5-page letter telling me in the letter that students who go through these programs after graduation, how much thousands of dollars they owe and they have to pay back. I said to her, I did not send you to college or university to tell me how much you're going to pay back, because you're not going to pay back nothing. Why do you think I work so long and hard? Why do you think I bought a house? The house is to use as collateral for your education when you reach a point. And you have to start to pay back those money. I will sell the house and pay off the bank. And all you have to do, go out and do your job. But she didn't listen to me. She listened to friends. Now, she's out making up all kind of story, creating fear factor in her own self. My daughter that I love so much, only God I love more than my daughter. I think about her every day. She have absolutely no clue what kind of father she has. But they know how to manufacture lies, create, lie, distort the truth, make up story, telling people about abuse and all this, because there's a lot of there's quite a few ungrateful students that I actually, when I went to register her, I remember this student, his mom driving him all the way from Toronto to Waterloo University. And I would say the guidance council asked this boy, what are you here for? He lift up his two shoulders. I don't know. And I look on him, I look on his mother, and I said, damn. This lady sacrificed so much. And this young man, he acts as if he has no appreciation for what his mother is trying to do for him. So my daughter go away. You know, like I said, I gave her a debit card. I said, if you're hungry, you don't have to beg people for nothing. If you don't want to cook, you don't have to beg people for nothing. Here. She took that debit card and then she moved away to another province. Then from another province, she moved away to a Caribbean island. And each time, when she's moving, she called me and said, Dad, I'm on the plane and I'm going so and so. And I said to her, don't go, come back home. You know, when I was very young and my aunt sent me to St. Mary, I learned things. I saw people gambling. They're playing poker, they're playing a 3-card, they call it pretty pot. And each time each time a guy loses his hand, they shuffle the deck and they start over again because he believes he's gonna win. So in my mind, I say, my daughter, if she fail in school and if she feel that she wanna continue with that career skill, come back home. Let's shuffle the deck and start again. And this I learned when I was like 14 and a half, 15 years old. I never forget that. When I entered George Brown College, first time I went to college, they teaches me Boyle's law, Charles' law, thermodynamic laws. I never hear of those things before. And I remember that my first semester, I failed. And I take my fist and I hit the desk and I say, me fail, I'm going to come back again and I'm going to pass. So I go home, I took a flashlight, I studied my book underneath the sheet because I wasn't the only one sleeping on the bed. Life was difficult, and it's still difficult. So next semester I went back, and I did pass. You know, when my certificate come, it's stamped in red. There's a lot of students get certificate stamped in blue. So that should tell you something. And then I go back for the next part of the course that take me into a higher level, which is industrial level. When my certificate come again, it was red. I remember when I handed in my exam that I wrote, the instructor asked me, how do I finish so quick? And then he come to the door and he actually whispered to me at the door because there were other students still sitting there writing exam. And then he said to me, how is it that you get the hardest question right and the easy one you fail? Because I was trying to get 100%, but my mark was up in the 90% range. And even though I was up in the 90% range, the mark that I was supposed to get minimum was 76%. But I was upset still because I want 100%. So you see, my determination to work with myself, I didn't have patience to work with. But I always remember those men when they lose a hand in poker or pretty pot. They shuffle the deck and they start again. And I can tell you, when I was growing up and until now, I still have many obstacles before me. I could be so far ahead in life, but I got obstacles that I cannot overcome. Obstacle that I was born with. And I thank God for myself. I thank God for what I done for my daughter, who doesn't appreciate me. And she probably think the worst of me because I try to educate her. I try to guide her. But wherever she is, whatever she do, I wish her well. I pray for her every night. She don't even know that. But like I said, wherever she are, wherever she is, whatever she does, whatever she accomplish, I do really give God thanks that I took her from elementary school or preschool straight up to the university level. No one does that for me. Absolutely. No one does that for me. And I give God thanks. And my heart is always in a very happy mood. Very happy mood. But my father, he said, honor your mother and your father so that your days may be long upon the land. If my father wasn't being struck by the devil or whoever, because I cannot see the reason why he moved. He left us, me, all five of us and my mother, He said to her he's going to move the cows to higher ground. Maybe 3-4 days later, he walked home in the same raincoat, same black raincoat. And he didn't come in the morning, he come in the evening. He left in the evening, returned home in the evening. Police come try to find him. Whole group of people come trying to find him. I remember I was so young. I wanted to go and they said, no, you can't come. So I know I was young. Or younger, very young. But he came back. God spared his life. He passed away around age 93. He shouldn't have gone. No one, no children should lose parents. Absolutely. I don't believe in someone should die. It doesn't matter what no one want to tell me. Because the giver or the creator of mankind is not a careless creator. He's not careless. If he didn't want life, he wouldn't create it in the first place. The air that we breathe, that we cannot see, the giver of life, I believe, is just like that. The air that we breathe cannot go outside and cut the grass and make the landscape beautiful. So the only person can do that is the flesh that walk the earth. I hope somebody learned something from my life story and make it your own. No one on earth is above the others. No one on earth should have to die. Amen.